Hey guys, Nick Foy here from AskNickFoy.com. And first, I want to start off apologizing to my subscribers. I did not get a video uploaded yesterday, and the reason for that is I ran into some big time website problems. One of my websites contracted malware, and it actually got into different files and folders on my file manager. So there's multiple websites inside of my hosting account that were infected. And my hosting account actually shut down my account, so all my websites crashed and nobody could access them. So today's video we're doing about malware and what to do if you find out you have malware on your website or in your hosting on the back end and in your file manager. So I decided to go ahead and make that today's video so that with all the experience that I gained from yesterday, we can cover exactly what I did and what happened to me as an example in case this happens to you. So if you're watching this video, you're somebody who searched this on YouTube, then you're probably, facing these types of problems and landed on my video. So let's dive into it quickly, and I'll try to make this video as quick as possible. But first off, I'm just in one of my example sites here. So this website wasn't the one that was infected with malware, but this will be my example site for today. And I just want to show you a few things. So first, what happened with my website. So what I was doing was I went into my blog post editor to all posts, and I was updating all of my different articles because I was trying to update the links in them. So I would go into every single article that I had on my blog. I'd update all the links, trying to point them to my store page, but I have some tracking code using Google's custom URL builder, which I've done another tutorial on. And as I was editing these blog articles, there would be little snippets of text that you couldn't really see unless you looked really closely. They cover it up to make it blend in, so they make it the same color. They hide the link color, so the link color is not orange or blue or red. It looks like it's just part of the page. So you actually have to hover the exact text to get it to show up that it's a link or whatever. So it's very hard to see. So I was doing these control commands. So if we go ahead and open up one of these example blog posts, I'll show you what I was doing. So in your blog post editor, I have the visual tab, the text tab. So I had to go into the text tab, and it was always the exact same link. So in my case, was like a spam injection where they just injected like links into every single page, every single blog post on my website. So I would have to do the Control F function, which brings up this little search box here. I would start typing in the word massage, because in this case it took you to some massage.com website that was all about selling some kind of pharmaceutical pill. So it was one of those like pharmaceutical pill malware spams. So by typing in like the word massage, it would show any results. So for example, we type in massage here, it says 0 out of 0. So of course this website's clean, there's no malware on it. But in my other site, there would be, that link was inserted as HTML. So under the text tab, you could find any links that had the word massage in it. So it would quickly show up. I could go in then and copy, paste, and remove it, or copy the link and just cut it and remove it. So that got rid of it, and then I would have to go in and click update. Now again, I had over 150 blog posts, plus I have like 40 or 50 web pages. So I had over 200 pages on my website I had to go in and manually edit by doing this. Now I was already going through them anyways, updating links and stuff, so I did both at once. But what I ended up doing for all the ones that I missed, because I knew that each time when I was going through editing links and also looking for the spam, that I probably wasn't going to find it because it was hidden. So for a lot of the posts that I couldn't find it, later what I did is you want to use like a security plugin. So WordFence is the plugin I was using. So I'm actually going to get it set up on this website. So you type in WordFence in the Add Plugins page, and here it is, WordFence Security, Firewall, and Malware Scan. So we'll click Install Now. Once it installs, we'll click Activate, and it'll go ahead and turn that plugin on for us so it can begin protecting your website. Now you're going to have to go in and do some initial setup. I think with the settings, they've changed the plugin around because I already have another video that kind of walks you through WordFence that's on my YouTube channel, but that one was made about a year ago, so they've updated the plugin. But first it's going to ask you, do you want to stay up to date automatically? So we'll click yes, enable auto updates. And then to make sure your site is secure as possible, take a moment to optimize the WordFence web application firewall. So you can go ahead and click here and run through the different settings they're going to have for you. So this is kind of the new design and the new look of the plugin. They've got these different percentages up here and brute force protection. So if you upgrade to their premium, they try to upsell you a lot on this plugin, but the free version works for what you need it to do. So you can go through here. They've got different settings. You can click these little things and they drop down, and you can, update them. Now again, there's probably other tutorials on that. That's not what this video is going to be about today. So what we did was that plugin was installed on my computer, or on my WordPress website that had the malware. Then you go in here to the scan tab, or if you go into the dashboard, there's a scan option. So we just click start new scan, and it's going to begin scanning all of your website. So you can check up here, it's kind of a little timeline. These things will start spinning and it'll progress from each stage. So you'll know kind of where the scan's at. And it probably takes about, a half hour or so to fully complete the scan. Just depends on how large your website is, how many files and pages it has to go through. When it gets done though, it's going to show you what it found here in the results, and then there will be some in the ignored results. So ignored results for me happen to just be like some plugins saying the plugin developer appears to be abandoned. So if somebody hasn't come out with a new update for a plugin within a couple of years, you're probably going to see that showing up there as a security risk, because abandoned plugins sometimes are susceptible to being hacked, and then they can contain malicious content. So that's why it's good that developers come out with new updates from time to time to kind of keep things moving along. Some malware can survive updates anyways, but that's one way of kind of helping keep malware away is by updating things. So again, that brings me to my next point. Once you run the scan, you also want to take security measures and precautions. So if we come here to plugins, you can see there's 5. So I have 5 updates to do. And then if you scroll up here to the top under dashboard, there's updates here. So we'll go ahead and update all of these things by opening up the page. So one way to kind of help keep your site secure is always update your plugins. That way, hackers look for dormant plugins that don't get updated in a while, and they can sometimes hack into those. So by keeping your plugins updated, that is one way to help protect yourself. And then number 2, your themes. You want to make sure that you don't have any extra theme files laying around in your file manager that you're not using. So it's a good idea to just delete out all the other themes, because you can only use one theme at a time for your website anyways. So now these are all updated. Let's go back here to the updates tab, and then these other 4 are probably theme updates. So this is a good example of what I'm getting into. So I've got 4 different themes installed here on the website. These are the ones that come default when you install WordPress, and then I use the Aveda theme. So we're going to go ahead and update the Aveda theme. That way we can keep it up to date, because again, you always want to keep your current theme up to date. And then those other 3 that I'm not using, I'm going to go ahead and delete. So we can come in here to appearance, and then we'll go here under themes, and then we're going to go ahead and delete those. So right now, updating Aveda theme, all updates have been completed. So with the Aveda theme, whenever I update my theme, there's a couple plugins that come with it, the Fusion Core and the Fusion Builder. So those always need updated as well. So I'm going to have to go in here to Aveda under plugins and go ahead and update those, and it's going to let you know installation update of required plugins needed. So it's pretty much required. Once you update your theme, they make you update these plugins. If you want to learn more about the Aveda theme, that's the theme I'm using, you can go to asknickfoy.com/Aveda. It's also one of my resources linked below in the description, as I've linked all the different tools and softwares I use in my website down in the video description if you want to check those out. But there we go. So that's updated. We'll go back, update the other one. So what this is doing, again, we're just updating all of our themes, all of our plugins. We're deleting any inactive plugins that we do not use right now on our website. We are deleting any themes that we do not use on our website. So this gets rid of all these files that could potentially get hacked that are just kind of sitting, not being used. So you want to get rid of them to kind of make sure that you're only using things that are active, that are being updated on a consistent basis, and that can kind of help get rid of, hack attempts. So once we do this, we're going to go back and check and see if that scan is done yet, and kind of go over that a little bit more. And then finally, we're going to be getting into what you're going to need to do in your hosting account. So if this tutorial seems kind of like it's all over the place, I apologize, but I'm trying to show you kind of a real example of a real website right now, what I'm doing step by step rather than just telling you. So what I've done so far, just showing you how to install WordFence, start a scan. While it's scanning, then you can go through, update all your themes, update all your plugins, delete themes you're not using. So now this is the only theme on this website. And then again, we're going to repeat this step for plugins. So you go under plugins, install plugins, and now you can delete out plugins that you're not using. So right now I've got 13 plugins. All 13 of them are active, so I don't have any extra plugins in here. But if you've got ones that aren't turned on, that are not activated, that are just sitting, that you're not using, you should go ahead and delete them. It also helps keep your website a little bit faster because it removes, all the files and stuff that could slow down your website. It's just extra space that's taking up. So by deleting plugins that are inactive, you're also helping speed your website up a little bit. All right, so let's go back here to the scan page, and it's still running the scan. So I'm not gonna do anything more with that. I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you what happens. So when it gets done, it'll show all the results. So yesterday's case, I had a bunch of different pages show up here in like a list. So there were about 40 of them that I didn't catch when I went through all my articles, updating them myself manually. So it caught about 40 pages that still had that malware link injected into them. So all it did over here was had a little edit button. So I clicked on that. It would open up that page for me. And then I would repeat that process of typing in, the little massage HTML control. I did like a control find, and I searched the entire page for that link, and it would quickly find it for me. And then we could go in and delete it. So I did that for all 40, and that officially got rid of all of the malware links that were inserted on my website. So I ran a final scan once I did that, and it came back that my website was clean. It no longer found any malware on it. So that was taken care of. So that was only part one. So part two was we had to go into the file manager. So I'm not actually going to go into my file manager just for security purposes. But here's a photo of what you're going to look for. So when you go into your cPanel, you scroll down and you're going to find a little icon that says File Manager. So log into your hosting account, hit cPanel somewhere in your hosting account, and then when you're on your cPanel, scroll down, find File Manager. So this is what it looks like when it opens up, and you're going to have the very top level folder here. That's your home folder. So that's the one you're going to want to click on. When you click on it, it's going to open up a drop-down list of different files and folders here. So you can see this one here that's like a little red T. It says test.txt. Now there happened to be one in my account that said malware.txt. And how that file gets there is your hosting company, they scan all the accounts, all the servers, and they look for malware on different websites that are using their hosting. So in my case, it did a scan about a month ago. I think it scans once a month, and they found some malware a month ago, so it reports it in this little file here. So you can open up this file, you'll download it to your computer and open it up, and it's just like a text file that just lists out all the different folders and locations that they found malware. So in my case, when I opened up mine, there happened to be 3 or 4 different websites, and I had to go into different folders for those websites and delete out those files. If you want to, if it's just code injected into a file, you might have to edit the file, find the code, delete it, and then save that file. But in my case, it happened to be files that I really didn't need. A lot of the websites I'd already gotten moved over to another hosting company to test out their speed, because I'm testing out website speed now as my next project. So I went ahead and just manually deleted a bunch of folders and files that I really didn't need that happened to contain the malware. So that's how I solved my case. But in more advanced cases, you might have to hire a developer to come in and actually, open up those files, find the code, and delete it out for you. But I just deleted the entire file. So that's not good to do in most cases because it can break your website. But, these are files I really didn't even need. Because those other websites that were infected I'm not actively using anyway. Now the one website that was active that I was using Bluehost for, that one happened to have a folder that was installed by the hacker. So it was a malicious folder. It had no reason to be in my account. So I got lucky and just got to delete that entire folder and all of the files inside of it that happened to contain the malicious code. So that's how I resolved for that website. So now that website is clean on my hosting cPanel side of things, because that's where the hacker had hacked in somehow, injected those files into my file manager, and then that caused all those links to be injected onto my website. So I removed all the links from my website. I removed the hacker malicious code from my file manager, so it appears my website is clean. Now the last step you want to do is come back here into your WordPress account. When you've been hacked, you'll want to come down here to the users. You'll want to go to your user profile and change your password. You can also create a new admin user with a new username and new password, and you could delete your old one because your current one, they don't let you change the username. So you could create a new one that's got a new username, new password if you want to go extreme, or you can just keep your current one but change the password. That way, maybe if somebody had compromised your password to get into your WordPress website, you now change that so that you've got a new login, and then that could potentially keep out hackers from coming back in the future, because now we're working on future prevention. So changing your WordPress password, you want to change your hosting password to your hosting account. So if, in my case, they might have been able to hack into my hosting account, insert those malicious files in the file manager. And then if you want, you should change the passwords to any of your email accounts that are associated with your hosting, because they could hack into your email and mess with that. So I would just go through and kind of do a clean, clean your site up and then change all the passwords and stuff. You could even go into your MySQL, it's like MySQL, to the databases inside your control panel in your hosting account, and you could update your database password and username if you think they hacked your database and injected a bunch of malware into your website. So just make sure once everything is clean that you change all the passwords to everything, so that hopefully you can keep the hacker out if he tries to come back. And it's also a good idea to back up your website before and after. So we use the Updraft Plus plugin for our website. So I don't have it here on this website yet. So this is one of my newer websites. It's kind of like a demo website I use for different tutorials. So it's kind of good because that allows me to do things as I talk about it. So the Updraft Plus plugin, that's the one. It's free to download. We just install it, and then you can back up your files to the cloud. So if you have Dropbox or Google Drive, they also have some other options for you. So I've got mine set up to back up once per day. My database and then all my core files, so like themes, plugins, everything to do with WordPress, that all gets backed up once per day, and it goes into a Google Drive folder or a Dropbox folder or an Amazon folder, depending on what cloud service you use. So we'll come here under settings now, go to Updraft Plus, and you can go ahead and get that set up. So you're gonna have to come here to settings, and they're going to give you the different options. So you just click on one of these that you want to back it up to, whether that's Dropbox, Amazon, Google Drive, Google Cloud. They've got some others. They've got FTP, email. So once you click on one of these, it'll walk you through the setup steps, and then you go back out here to the current status tab, click backup now. It'll begin running your first backup, and then again in settings, you'll set your schedule so you can do it every single day. So daily, weekly, monthly, and then retain this many scheduled backups. So I typically retain 2 of the files, and then we do like 7 databases. So that way, if the database changes on a day-to-day basis, we have that backed up, multiple backups of it. So it'll go ahead and delete out old copies, I think, in your cloud. It'll just keep, however many you want it to keep. So actually that's for, I think, on here on your WordPress. So once you come here to the current status, click backup now, it'll show you, oh, existing backups right here, this tab. So that's where however many you set here, so 2 and 2. If you come here into existing backups, you'll find those 2 copies here. So if you ever need to log into your WordPress website and download those copies for some reason, like if you're moving to another hosting company or something, otherwise you can find them in whatever cloud system you're using to back up your website. So inside your cloud system, you might have a folder that says Updraft Plus, and it might have 30 or 40 copies. So it's good to go in once in a while and delete out really old copies that you no longer need and just keep the most current up-to-date copies in that folder. But I also keep an old copy sometimes in case the new copies come down with, malware or something. You could go back to the old copies if you had to, as like an emergency step. So that's another option. So overall, that's kind of the gist of this video, all the different things we talked about. So coming back here into my WordPress dashboard, let's give you a quick recap. So you log into your WordPress site when you find out that it's been injected with a bunch of malware links. Sometimes it can show up in the header, the footer, or in my case, it happened to be in the content of my page. So blog posts and web pages, I had to scroll through the content and look for it hidden. So what you do is you just go into your posts or your pages, go into that text tab, and you can do a control find to try to find the link that is showing up. But first, of course, you got to find out what kind of malware and pages are infected. So by running a scan on your WordFence, so go to plugins, add new, install the WordFence plugin, run a scan. It'll tell you what's wrong here in the results found. And then you can go in and click those edit buttons and it'll edit those files. You can go in and manually edit them. If you want to delete them or repair them, you can let WordFence do it, but I would suggest manually doing it if it's something like removing links, that they've injected into your website. So once you clean your website manually, going in, fixing everything that WordFence found wrong, then you want to check your hosting account to make sure that there's no malware inside your hosting account. One thing you don't want to do necessarily is report it to your hosting company. I did that last night when I called them. I was asking them actually some other questions, but it ended up coming out about that my website had malware, so they actually shut down my account. So again, that's why you want to have everything backed up. And then if you happen to report it to your hosting people, they're probably just going to shut you down and they'll make your websites go down until you get it fixed. So that's one thing to try to avoid. Try to avoid telling your hosting company if you still want your website to function. But if your website really got hacked and really got bad malware on it, then it's probably a good idea that your hosting company takes it down. But that's one thing that happened. So I had to go in and delete out all the malware, and then they run a new scan. And once their scan came back clean, then they uploaded my site again and reactivated everything for me. So that was kind of a pain in the butt, but it happens, that they found out and that they did that to me, but it worked out because I ended up getting it all resolved. So once you resolve it on your hosting side, you resolve it here on the back end of your WordPress. Then again, go through, back up everything so you have a clean copy. That way you can default to that clean copy that once all the malware is removed. If it happens again, you can just back everything up and restore the clean copies. And then finally change all your passwords, usernames, things like that that hackers might be looking to attack. So those are my tips for you today in this video tutorial where we covered what to do if you think you're hacked or you find malware on your website. So this was my case that happened to me yesterday, and now I've been able to create this video for you guys today, walking you through everything here on this example dummy website. So thanks so much for watching. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and again, I apologize the way that I did this video, trying to do it, a tutorial of this website. I should have shown you things yesterday, but I was grinding away trying to get things taken care of, and I didn't have time really to sit down and make a YouTube video because I wanted to make sure I got everything done. And it would have been hard to make this video yesterday, where today I could do an easy summary video for you guys now that I remember everything that happened to me yesterday. So I'll see you guys in the next video upload tomorrow, and until then, make sure to check out my playlist on my account for different topics that we cover. Take care.